I signed everything she put in front of me. Every single paper. I trusted her completely, why wouldn't I? She was going to be my wife. I thought we were building our future together. But when I tried to sell that condo, when I finally asked to see the title, that's when I learned the truth. I never owned it, not 1 square foot. And she'd known from day one. I stood on that balcony on the 22nd floor, looking out over Manila at sunset, and I remember thinking this was it. This was the life I'd been searching for. The sky was orange and pink, the buildings lit up like stars, and Cora was standing next to me with her hand in mine. "It's beautiful, Arthur," she said, her voice soft. "Our home, can you believe it?" I couldn't. I really couldn't. After Margaret died, I thought I'd spend the rest of my days alone in that cold house in Leeds. 3 years I sat in that living room, staring at her empty chair, wondering what the point was anymore. My daughter Iris had her own life in Manchester. The house felt like a tomb. Then I found Cora online, 6 months of video calls. Her smile, her laugh, the way she asked about my day, really asked, like she cared. 2 visits to the Philippines, and I knew. This was my second chance. "I can't believe it either," I told her, squeezing her hand. "But we did it. We really did it." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "You did it, love. You made this possible for us." I'd sold the house in Leeds, every brick, every memory. Got £425,000 for it. Sent it all here, every last penny. Cora had handled everything with her cousin Manolo, the real estate broker. She told me it was complicated for foreigners to buy property here, something about laws and corporations, but that she'd take care of it, and she had. The keys were in my pocket. "This condo was ours. What do you want to do first?" she asked, turning to me. "In our new home?" I pulled her close. "I just want to be with you. That's all I've ever wanted." She kissed me. The city glowed beneath us. I felt young again. I felt alive. For the first time in 3 years, I felt like I had a future. I didn't know then that I'd already lost everything, that the keys in my pocket meant nothing, that the woman in my arms had been planning this from the very first message. I didn't know. God help me, I didn't know. It started 6 months before that balcony moment. I was sitting at my computer in Leeds, scrolling through one of those international dating sites Iris had warned me about. "Dad, please don't," she'd said. "Those sites are full of scammers." But I wasn't looking for trouble. I was looking for someone to talk to. Someone who might understand what it's like to wake up every morning and realize the person you built your life with is gone. Cora's profile was simple. 31 years old, from Taguig, worked in real estate administration. Her smile in the photos looked genuine, not like those other profiles with professional model shots. She looked real. I sent her a message. She replied within an hour. "Hello, Arthur. Thank you for writing. I'd love to get to know you." We talked every day. Video calls at night, my morning. She'd be getting ready for work, putting on her makeup while we chatted. "Tell me about Leeds," she'd say. "What's it like there?" I told her everything. About Margaret, about the loneliness, about feeling like my life was over at 75. "Your life isn't over," she said one night, her face close to the camera. "You have so much still to give, so much to experience." "Like what?" I asked. She smiled. "Like falling in love again, like living somewhere warm, like being happy, Arthur. You deserve to be happy." 3 months in, I flew to Manila, met her in person. She was even more beautiful than on camera, sweet, attentive. Took me around the city, introduced me to her family. Her mother Ligaya cooked this incredible meal for us. "Welcome to the Philippines," she said, hugging me like I was already family. I went back to Leeds feeling lighter than I had in years. A month later, I returned. This time I told Cora I was serious. "I want to retire here," I said. "I want to be with you, build a life with you." Her eyes filled with tears. "Are you sure, Arthur? This is a big decision." "I've never been more sure of anything." That's when she introduced me to Manolo, her cousin, licensed real estate broker, mid-40s, friendly, spoke decent English. Arthur, my friend, he said, shaking my hand. Cora tells me you're looking for a property. I can help you. I know all the best developments. We spent 2 days looking at condos, high-rises in Makati, Bonifacio Global City, Taguig. Modern buildings with pools and gyms and security. This one, Cora said when we walked into a unit on the 22nd floor. This is perfect for us. It was. 2 bedrooms, full kitchen, floor-to-ceiling windows. I could picture our life there. How much? I asked Manolo. For you, special price. 23 million pesos, about 425,000 pounds at current exchange. I had exactly that from selling the Leeds house. It felt like fate. I'll take it, I said. Manolo grinned. Excellent. I'll start the paperwork. Cora can help translate everything. Some documents will be in Tagalog, but don't worry. She'll make sure everything is correct. Actually, I said, I'd like to review everything with a lawyer, just to be safe. Cora's face changed for just a second. Then she smiled. Of course, love, but Manolo is licensed. He does this every day, and lawyers here are so expensive. They charge just to look at papers. She's right, Manolo added. Everything will be legal. I'll make sure of it. But if you want a lawyer, that's your choice. I looked at Cora. She looked worried, like I didn't trust her. No, it's fine, I said. Let's just move forward. I trust you both. Relief flooded her face. Thank you, Arthur. I promise. We'll take care of everything. And they did. Manolo brought papers to the condo where I was staying. Cora sat next to me, pointing at signature lines. Here, and here, and here, she said. Some documents were in English. Most weren't. This one says you authorized the purchase, she explained. This one is for the transfer of funds. This one is for the title processing. And my name will be on the title? I asked. She hesitated. Just for a moment. It's complicated for foreigners, remember? But Manolo is setting it up through a legal structure. You'll have full rights, I promise. I signed every page. Manolo witnessed them. Then came the money transfer. You'll need to send it to this account, Manolo said, handing me a paper with bank details. It's the developer's escrow account. Once they receive payment, they'll release the title. I sent 425,000 pounds from my UK bank. It took 3 days to clear. When it did, Manolo called me. Congratulations, Arthur. The unit is yours. We'll have the keys next week. Cora's family threw a party. Ligaya cooked again. Her son Benji was there. Quiet kid in his 20s. They all toasted to me. Welcome to the family, Ligaya said. I felt it. I really felt like I belonged. 2 weeks later, Manolo handed me the keys. You're home, he said. I held them in my palm. They felt like hope, like proof that I'd made the right choice. Cora moved in with me that same day. We arranged furniture, hung pictures, made love in our new bedroom. I'm so happy, she whispered that night. Are you happy, Arthur? Happier than I've been in years. I was. I really truly was. I didn't ask to see the title. I didn't think I needed to. Everything felt right. Everything felt real. That was my first mistake. The first month in the condo was perfect. We woke up to sunlight streaming through those big windows. Cora made coffee every morning. We'd sit on the balcony and plan our day. We should get married soon, I said one morning. Make this official. She smiled, but something flickered in her eyes. I'd love that, Arthur. But maybe we should wait. Wait? For what? Just until the condo paperwork is finalized. Manolo said it takes a few months for the title to be fully processed. Once that's done, we can plan the wedding. Maybe in the UK first, then a ceremony here for my family? It made sense. I didn't push. Okay, I said. We'll wait. Weeks passed. The condo felt like home. Cora worked from a small desk in the second bedroom. I spent my days reading, walking around the neighborhood, meeting other expats for coffee. Life was simple, peaceful. But small things started bothering me, like when Benji, Cora's brother, showed up one weekend with a duffel bag. He's staying with us for a bit, Cora Cora said. Just until he finds work. Of course, I said. I wanted to be generous, welcoming. He was family now, but Benji didn't look for work. He played video games in the living room, ate our food, left his things everywhere. One day, he answered the door when a delivery came. Yeah, I live here, he told the guy. I was standing right there. It bothered me, but I didn't say anything. Then there was the mailbox incident. I went down to the lobby to set up mail forwarding from the UK. I need to put my name on the mailbox, I told the building admin. For Unit 2214. The woman looked at her computer. The unit is registered to Miss Corazon Reyes. Is that you? No, I'm Arthur. Arthur Hayes. I'm the owner. She frowned. I only have Miss Reyes listed here. You'll need to bring the title or a lease agreement if you want your name added. I went back upstairs, confused. Cora, they said your name is on the mailbox registration, not mine. She barely looked up from her laptop. That's just temporary, love. Remember, the title is still being processed. Once it's finalized, we'll update everything. But I'm the owner. Shouldn't my name be on things? She sighed, like I was being difficult. Arthur, this is how it works here. The processing takes time. You have to be patient. I dropped it. But that night, lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling. Something felt off. Not wrong. Exactly. Just off. Are you awake? Cora whispered. Yeah. Are you upset about earlier? The mailbox thing? No, I just don't understand why everything is taking so long. She rolled over, her hand on my chest. I know it's frustrating, but I'm handling it, trust me, okay? I would never let anything happen to you. I wanted to believe her. I did believe her. Okay, I said. She kissed my cheek. Fell asleep within minutes. I stayed awake, staring at the dark, wondering why I felt like I was missing something important. But I told myself I was overthinking, that it was just cultural differences, that Cora loved me and would never lie to me. I told myself that every night, until I couldn't anymore. The video call from Iris came on a Tuesday morning. I was alone in the condo. Cora had gone to her mother's place for the day. Hi, Dad, Iris said. She looked tired, worried. How are you? How's the Philippines? It's wonderful, love, really. I'm happy here. That's good. I'm glad. But her voice didn't match her words. What's wrong? I asked. She hesitated. Dad, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Of course. Have you actually seen the title to that condo, the legal paperwork with your name on it? My stomach tightened. It's still being processed. These things take time here. Dad, it's been over 2 months. Processing doesn't take that long. Iris, you don't understand how things work in the Philippines. No, Dad, I think you don't understand. I've been reading articles, stories about Western men getting scammed, property fraud, women who marry expats just to get money and stop. My voice came out harder than I intended. Just stop. Cora isn't like that. How do you know? Because I know her. Because she loves me. Iris's eyes filled with tears. Dad, I'm scared for you. You sold your house. You sent all your money there. What if something goes wrong? Nothing is going to go wrong. Then prove it. Go to a lawyer. Get independent verification that you actually own that property. Please, for me. I don't need to prove anything, Iris. I trust Cora. More than you trust me? That hit me hard. That's not fair. Dad, I'm your daughter. I've known you my whole life. You've known her less than a year. Please, just check, just to be sure. What's the harm in that? The harm is showing her I don't trust her. The harm is treating her like a criminal when she's done nothing wrong. Iris wiped her eyes. Fine, I won't bring it up again. But Dad, if you need anything, if anything happens, please call me. Promise me. Nothing is going to happen. But yes, I promise. We said our goodbyes. I sat there for a long time after the screen went dark. My daughter's words echoed in my head. But then I heard the door open. Cora came in, carrying grocery bags. Hi, love. Did you miss me? She kissed my cheek. Smelled like flowers. Iris called, I said. Cora's smile faded. How is she? She's worried. She thinks I should get a lawyer to review the condo paperwork. Cora set the bags down slowly. Why would she say that? She's been reading stories online. About scams. Scams. Cora's voice went flat. She thinks I'm scamming you. No, she thinks I'm with you for money. Because I'm Filipina. Because I'm younger. Tears started running down her face. That's what she thinks, isn't it? Cora, no. I've given you everything, Arthur. My time, my heart. I've introduced you to my family. I've built a life with you. And your daughter thinks I'm a criminal? She was sobbing now. Full body shaking sobs. I stood up, wrapped my arms around her. She doesn't think that. She's just being protective. She doesn't know you like I do. Then why doesn't she trust me? Why doesn't she trust us? I don't know. But I do. I trust you completely. She looked up at me, her face wet. Do you? Really? Yes. With everything. Then don't listen to her, Arthur, please. Don't let her ruin what we have. I held her tighter. I won't. I promise. That night I lay awake again. But this time, I wasn't questioning Cora. I was angry at Iris, for doubting, for not understanding, for making the woman I loved cry. I didn't call my daughter back, didn't text her. I chose Cora's tears over Iris's warning. That was my second mistake, and it cost me everything. 3 months after moving in, my financial advisor in the UK called. Arthur, I need documentation of the property purchase for your pension transfer. The title deed and proof of ownership. I'll get it to you, I said. After I hung up, I realized I'd never actually seen the title. Not once. Cora was in the shower. I waited until she came out, her hair wrapped in a towel. Love, I need to get a copy of the condo title for my pension paperwork. She froze for just a second, then smiled. Of course. I'll call Manolo tomorrow. Actually, could we get it today? The advisor needs it by the end of the week. Her smile tightened. It's with Manolo. He has all the documents. Then I'll call him now. Arthur, he's probably busy. Let me handle it. But something in her voice made me pick up my phone. I dialed Manolo's number. He answered on the third ring. Hello? Manolo? It's Arthur. I need the title for the condo. Can I pick it up today? Silence. Then, Arthur, the title. It's still with the developer. Being encoded into the system. Encoded? It's been 3 months. Yes. These things take time. You know how it is here. Government offices are slow. How much longer? Maybe 2 more weeks. I'll call you when it's ready. I need it this week, Manolo. My bank requires it. I understand. Let me see what I can do. I'll call you back. He didn't call back. Not that day. Not the next. I tried calling him 4 more times. No answer. Voicemail full. I turned to Cora. He's not answering. She was on her phone typing. He's probably busy with clients. For 4 days straight? She looked up, her face hardening. What do you want me to say, Arthur? That I don't know? I don't. He's handling it. Then, let's go to the developer directly. Get the title ourselves. It doesn't work like that. Why not? Because it doesn't. Because I'm trying to help you, and you're treating me like I've done something wrong. Her voice was rising. I've done everything for you. Everything. And now you're interrogating me? I'm not interrogating you. I just want to see the title. That's a reasonable request. You think I'm lying to you. That's what this is about. Cora. No, I see it now. You think I've stolen from you? That I'm some scammer like your daughter said. I never said that, but you're thinking it. I can see it in your eyes. She was crying now, full tears, but they felt different than before. Sharper, more calculated. You don't trust me. After everything. You still don't trust me. I do trust you. I just need to see the paperwork. Because you think I'm hiding something. Are you? The question hung in the air. She stared at me. I stared back. Then she turned and walked into the bedroom, slammed the door. I stood there, my heart pounding. Something was wrong. I felt it in my bones now. but I didn't know what to do with that feeling. I called my financial advisor back. I'm having trouble getting the title. Can I send you something else? Arthur, without proof of ownership, I can't process the pension transfer. You need that document. I'll get it. Just give me a few more days. That night, Cora didn't come to bed. She slept on the couch. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, and for the first time since I'd arrived in the Philippines, I felt truly afraid. Not of losing money, of losing the truth, of discovering something I couldn't undo. I called Gary the next morning. He was another British expat, early 60s, lived in Makati. We'd met at an expat coffee group a month earlier. Gary, I need help, I said. What's wrong, mate? I think I might have a problem with my condo purchase. Come to my place. We'll talk. I told Cora I was meeting a friend. She didn't respond. Just stayed on her phone, her back to me. Gary's apartment was smaller than mine, but comfortable. He poured us coffee and listened as I explained everything. The purchase, Manolo, the missing title. When I finished, he sat back. Arthur, I hate to say this, but you need a lawyer, right now. You think something's wrong? I think you need someone who knows Philippine law to look at what you've got. I know a guy, Adi De Leon. He's handled cases like this before. Cases like what? Gary's face was serious. Property fraud cases. Foreigners who thought they owned condos but didn't. My stomach dropped. You think, Cora? I think you need to know the truth, one way or another, he called Adi. De Leon. Set up a meeting for that afternoon. I went back to the condo to get my documents. Cora was gone. I found everything I had. Receipts, bank transfer confirmations, emails from Manolo, the signed papers Cora had translated for me. I put them in a folder and left. Adi. De Leon's office was in a high-rise in Makati. He was younger than I expected, maybe 40, wearing a crisp barong. Mr. Hayes, he said, shaking my hand. Please sit. I handed him the folder. He spread the documents across his desk, started reading. I watched his face, watched it change from neutral to concerned. He picked up one paper, then another, compared them. Then he looked up at me. Mr. Hayes, I need to ask you a direct question. Do you believe you own this condominium? I bought it. I paid for it. So yes. He nodded slowly. I'm very sorry to tell you this, but according to these documents, you do not own this property. The room tilted. What? The title is registered solely in the name of Miss Corazon Reyes. There is no co-ownership agreement, no corporate structure, no trust arrangement. Under Philippine law, you, as a foreigner, cannot own land or, in most cases, condominiums outright unless specific legal requirements are met. None of those requirements were fulfilled here. But I paid for it. I have the bank transfers. Yes, you transferred £425,000 to an account, but there is no contract establishing that transfer as a purchase. Legally, it could be considered a gift or a loan without terms. That's insane, Manolo said. Mr. Hayes, who is Manolo? Her cousin, the broker. He handled everything. Is his name on any of these documents as a licensed representative of the developer? I looked through the papers. I didn't know what I was looking for. I don't know, because I don't see it. What I see is a private transaction between you and Miss Reyes. And in that transaction, she became the legal owner of a property purchased with your money. I couldn't breathe. Can I fight this? Can I get it back? Adi. De Leon leaned back in his chair. You can file a civil case, claim unjust enrichment or fraud, but you will need to prove intent to defraud, which is very difficult. You signed documents. You transferred money willingly. A court will ask why you didn't consult a lawyer before sending nearly £500,000 to someone you'd known less than a year. Because I trusted her. Because she said she loved me. I understand, but love is not a legal defense. How long would a case take? Years. 3 to 5, possibly. And it will cost you legal fees, court costs, living expenses while you wait. And even then, there is no guarantee you will win. I felt like I was drowning. So I've lost everything. I don't know yet. Let me investigate further. Pull the actual title from the registry of deeds. See exactly what we're dealing with. But Mr. Hayes, I want you to be prepared for the worst. I left his office in a daze. Gary was waiting outside. What did he say? He said I don't own it, that Cora owns it, that I gave her £425,000 for nothing. Gary put his hand on my shoulder. I'm sorry, mate. I really am. What do I do now? You talk to her, you confront her, and you find out if there's any way to fix this before it's too late. I went back to the condo. My hands were shaking when I put the key in the lock. This was it. The moment everything would either make sense or fall apart completely. I didn't know which I was more afraid of. Cora was on the couch when I walked in. She didn't look up from her phone. I stood in the doorway, my heart hammering. Cora, I need to ask you something. I'm busy, Arthur. Is this condo in your name? Her fingers stopped moving. She set the phone down slowly, looked at me. Her face was calm, too calm. What are you talking about? The title, the deed. Is it in your name? Just your name? She stood up. Who have you been talking to? Answer the question. I don't have to answer anything. You're accusing me of something. I'm asking you a simple question. Is this condo legally registered to you? She crossed her arms. We were going to get married, Arthur. It would have been ours. Would have been, not is. My voice was shaking. You put it in your name. Only your name. Didn't you? She didn't deny it. That's what broke me. Not anger. Not shouting. Just silence. Just the absence of denial. Why? I asked. Why did you lie to me? I didn't lie. You told me I was buying this property, that Manolo was setting it up legally, that I would have full rights. You knew foreigners couldn't own property here. I told you that from the beginning. You said there were legal ways around it, corporations, structures. You said you'd take care of it. This was the way. The only way. By stealing from me? I didn't steal anything. Her voice was cold now, hard. You gave me that money freely. You signed the papers. You transferred the funds. Nobody forced you. Because you lied to me. Because you made me think we were building a life together. We were building a life. We are. In a home I paid for but don't own. She took a step toward me. You think I wanted to trick you? I loved you. I still love you. Then why is your name on the title and not mine? Because that's how it had to be done. Because you're foreign, and I'm Filipino, and those are the laws. If you had any understanding of how things work here, don't. I held up my hand. Don't blame me for trusting you, for believing you when you said you'd protect me. I did protect you. By taking everything I have? She laughed, actually laughed. Everything you have? You still have this place to live. You still have me. You're acting like I robbed you. Did your family know? That stopped her. What? Your mother? Your brother? Manolo? Did they know the title was in your name? That I didn't actually own this place? Her face gave it away. Just for a second. Arthur, they all knew. I felt sick. Everyone knew except me. I was the only one who thought this was real. It is real. Our relationship is real. No. It was a transaction. You needed money. I had it. Everything else was just performance. That's not true. Prove it. Put my name on the title. Transfer ownership. If you really love me, if this was really just about the law, then fix it now. She stared at me. I can't do that. Why not? Because once it's in my name, changing it requires capital gains, taxes, transfer fees, legal processes. I don't care about the cost. I'll pay it. Transfer it to my name. No. Why? Because it's mine. There it was. The truth. Finally. Naked and cold. Get out, she said. What? Get out of my condo. This is my property. My name is on the title, and I want you out. Cora. Now Arthur. Or I'll call security and have you removed. I looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd fallen in love with was gone. Maybe she'd never existed. This person standing in front of me was a stranger. I went to the bedroom, packed a bag. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely zip it. When I came back out, she was on the phone, speaking rapid Tagalog. She didn't look at me as I walked to the door. I stopped, turned back. "I loved you," I said. "I really did." She glanced up. Her eyes were empty. "I know." I left, closed the door behind me, stood in the hallway, my bag at my feet, and for the first time in 3 months, I let myself cry. Everything I'd built, everything I'd believed, gone. Gary let me stay in his guest room. I spent the first 2 days in bed, staring at the wall. On the 3rd day, I forced myself to get up, to try. I called Manolo, blocked. I tried a different number. Same result. I went to the developer's sales office. "I need information about a unit in one of your buildings," I told the receptionist. "The title, the ownership records. Unit number, 2214, Tower B," she typed. Looked at her screen. That unit was purchased by Miss Cora Reyes. The sale was completed 3 months ago. I paid for that unit. I transferred the money. "Do you have a purchase agreement with the developer?" "No. It was handled through a broker." "Then you'll need to take that up with the broker. We don't have any record of your involvement in the transaction." I left. Tried the condo building next. Same story. "Only Miss Reyes is listed as the owner. You'll need her permission to access the unit or any documentation." I met with Addy. De Leon again. "Can we go to the police?" He shook his head. "This is a civil matter, not criminal. Unless you can prove deliberate fraud that she intended from the beginning to steal from you, the police won't get involved. And proving intent is nearly impossible." "What about the bank transfers?" "I have proof I sent the money." "Yes, but to whom did you send it? Was it directly to the developer? Or to an account controlled by Miss Reyes or her associates?" I pulled out my records. The account name, M. Santos. Manolo Santos. "It went to the broker's personal account," Addy de Leon said, "not the developer's escrow. That significantly weakens your case. It looks like a private transaction, not a property purchase. So there's nothing I can do. You can file a civil case for unjust enrichment. But Mr. Hayes, I must be honest with you. Even if you win, collecting on a judgment in the Philippines is very difficult, and it will take years. I don't have years. I don't have anything." He looked at me with something like pity. "Then I'm very sorry. I tried one last thing. I called Cora." She answered, "What do you want, Arthur?" "I want to settle. You keep the condo, but pay me back half. 212,000. That's fair." "That's reasonable," she laughed. "I don't have that kind of money." "Then sell the condo. Give me half the proceeds." "Why would I do that?" "It's my property. Because I paid for it. Because it's the right thing to do. The right thing." She paused. "You want to talk about right? You came here thinking you could buy a young woman with your money. That I'd be grateful. That I'd take care of you in your old age. Well, I did take care of you. I gave you a place to live, a relationship, and now you want more? I want what's mine. You have what's yours. Nothing. Because you were stupid enough to send money to someone you barely knew. That's on you, Arthur. Not me." She hung up. I sat there holding the phone. Gary came in, put a beer in front of me. "Any luck?" "She's keeping it all. Every pound." "She doesn't care." "I know. I'm sorry, mate. What do I do now? I can't afford to rent. I can't go back to the UK. I sold my house. You can stay here as long as you need. I can't do that to you. You're not. You're my friend. And right now, you need help." I looked at him. This man I barely knew was offering me more kindness than the woman I'd planned to marry. "Thank you," I said. That night, I lay in Gary's guest bed and thought about ending it. About how easy it would be to just stop. I was 75. I'd lost my wife, my home, my money, my dignity. What was left? But then I thought about Iris, about how she'd tried to warn me, about how she'd said to call if I needed anything. I picked up my phone, dialed. She answered immediately. "Dad, are you okay?" I started crying, couldn't help it. "Iris, I'm so sorry. You were right. About everything. And I didn't listen." "Oh, Dad." Her voice broke. "What happened?" I told her everything. When I finished, She was quiet for a long time. "Come home," she finally said. "Please, just come home. I can't afford the ticket. I'll buy it. I'll buy it right now." "No, I can't let you do that. This is my mess. You're my father, and I love you. Let me help you. I'll pay you back. I promise. As soon as I can. I don't care about the money. I just want you safe." She bought the ticket that night. One way. Manchester. Leaving in 2 weeks. I thanked her. Told her I loved her. Then I lay there in the dark and wondered how I'd become this person. This old man who'd lost everything. Because he'd wanted to believe in love. Because he'd been so lonely that he'd ignored every warning sign. Because he'd been a fool. I didn't leave after 2 weeks. I couldn't. Something kept me here. Not hope, not love. Just the inability to face going back to the UK with nothing. Gary didn't push. Just let me stay. Help with rent when I could. I started doing online consulting for UK engineering firms. Small projects, enough to cover food, but not enough to rebuild. I thought about the house in Leeds a lot. The garden Margaret had loved. The kitchen where we'd cooked together for 40 years. The bedroom where she died, holding my hand, telling me to be happy after she was gone. I'd sold all of that, every brick, every memory, for a lie. I thought about the signs I'd missed. Cora's hesitation when I asked about the title, Manolo's evasions, the way she'd cried whenever I questioned anything. The way she'd turned it around made me feel guilty for doubting. How had I not seen it? How had I been so blind? Because I'd wanted it to be real. That's how. I'd wanted to believe that at 75, after losing Margaret, after 3 years alone, I could still find love. That someone young and beautiful could actually want me, not for my money, for me. But that's not what happened. She saw a lonely old man with a house to sell. She saw an opportunity, and she took it. I wondered if she'd ever felt anything real for me, if any of it had been genuine. The laughs, the touches, the way she'd looked at me on that balcony and said, "Our home," or if it had all been calculation, performance, a long con executed with patience and precision. I called Iris every Sunday. She always asked when I was coming home. "Soon," I'd say. But months passed. One night Gary and I were having dinner. "Why are you still here, Arthur?" he asked. "I don't know. You're punishing yourself. That's what it looks like. Maybe I deserve it. For what? For believing someone when they said they loved you. For trusting? That's not a crime, mate. It was stupid. It was human." He leaned forward. "You're not the first man this has happened to, and you won't be the last. There's a whole group of us, expats who got burned. We meet on Thursdays. You should come. I don't want to talk about it." "Then don't talk. Just listen. See that you're not alone in this." I went. The group met in a small bar in Quezon City. 15 men, all Western, all with stories like mine. One guy lost his life savings to a woman who said she was starting a business. Another built a house in his girlfriend's name, never saw her again after it was finished. Another married a woman who divorced him the day after getting her visa, filed for spousal support. One. They told their stories without shame. Just facts, just truth. When it was my turn, I told mine. "I lost £425,000, I said. "I lost my home. I lost the woman I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. And I lost my self-respect." An older Australian man, maybe 80, spoke up. "But you're here. That counts for something. Does it?" "Yeah, mate, it does. Because you survived. You're still standing. A lot of blokes in your position wouldn't be." I thought about that. About survival. About what it meant. I'd thought my life was over when Margaret died. Then I'd thought it was beginning again with Cora. Now I realized it was neither. It was just continuing. Messily, painfully, but continuing. That night, I called Iris. "I think I'm ready to come home," I said. "Really?" "Yeah, I can't stay here anymore. I need to be near you. Near family." She started crying. "I've been waiting to hear that for months." "I know. I'm sorry it took so long." "When?" "I need a few weeks. To close out some work projects. Save up a bit more. But soon." I'll be waiting, Dad. Your room is ready. After we hung up, I sat on Gary's balcony and looked out at Manila. This city that had promised me so much, delivered so little. But I didn't hate it. I hated myself. For being gullible. For ignoring Iris. For signing papers I couldn't read. For sending money without consulting a lawyer. For believing that love could be simple, easy, real. Margaret used to say I was too trusting. That I saw the best in people even when they showed me the worst. She'd loved that about me. Said it made me kind. But kindness without wisdom is just weakness. And I'd been weak, so weak. I thought about Cora, wondered if she thought about me, if she felt anything. Guilt, regret, satisfaction, probably nothing. I was just another transaction, another successful play, another stupid foreigner who learned too late what it cost to trust without verification. But I survived, somehow. Against everything, I survived. I didn't go back to the UK. I told Iris I would, meant it when I said it. But when the time came, I couldn't get on that plane. Why not, Dad? She asked, her face worried on the video screen. Because I have nothing to come back to. No house, no savings. I'd be a burden on you. You wouldn't be. I would. And I can't do that. Then what are you going to do? I'm going to stay here, rebuild, find a way forward. She didn't understand. How could she? But Gary did. You're trying to prove something, he said one night. To who? To yourself. That you're more than what happened to you. Maybe he was right. I rented a small studio in Quezon City. £400 a month, basic, clean, mine. I took on more consulting work, built up a small client base, enough to live simply. I joined a gym, started walking every morning, tried to remember what it felt like to be Arthur Hayes, not Arthur the victim, not Arthur the fool, just Arthur. 3 months after I moved out of Gary's place, I saw her. I was in a mall in Makati, shopping for a new laptop, and there she was, Cora, walking with a man, younger than me, maybe 40. They were laughing, his arm around her waist. She looked happy. I froze, watched them from a distance. They went into a restaurant, sat at a table by the window. He ordered. She smiled that smile I remembered, that smile that had made me believe everything was possible. For a moment I thought about approaching, about confronting her, asking if it was worth it. If my £425,000 had bought her happiness, but I didn't, because it didn't matter. She'd moved on. I needed to as well. I left, walked back to my car, drove home, and for the first time in months I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no longing, just emptiness. And that emptiness felt like progress. Gary checked in every week. How are you holding up? Better, I think. You look better. Less haunted. I feel less haunted. Most days. That's good. That's really good, mate. Iris called every Sunday. Told me about her life in Manchester, her kids, her husband, the garden she was planting. I miss you, Dad, she'd say. I miss you too, love. You know you're always welcome here. Always. I know. Thank you. I meant it. But I wasn't ready. Not yet. I started volunteering, teaching English to local kids, math to high school students. It gave me purpose, made me feel useful again. The students called me Sir Arthur, asked me questions about England, about my life. I told them stories, edited out the painful parts. One day, a boy, maybe 16, asked me, "Sir, why did you move to the Philippines?" I thought about lying, about making something up, but I told him the truth. I was lonely. I thought I could find happiness here. It didn't work out the way I planned. But you stayed. I did. Why? Because running away wouldn't change what happened. And maybe, just maybe, I could build something new here. Something that belonged to me. He nodded. Didn't fully understand. But he tried. That's all I could ask. 6 months after I saw Cora in the mall, I went back to that condo building. Stood outside. Looked up at the 22nd floor. My balcony. My view. Except it wasn't. It never had been. A security guard approached. "Can I help you, sir?" No, I said. I'm just remembering. Remembering what? A mistake I made. A big one. We all make mistakes, sir. Not like this one. He smiled kindly. Even big mistakes can be survived. I looked at him. This young guard who knew nothing about me, nothing about what I'd lost, and I realized he was right. I'd survived. I was 76 now, still breathing, still here, still learning. I wasn't the man who'd stood on that balcony with Cora, believing in forever. I wasn't the man who'd trusted blindly, loved foolishly, signed papers without reading them. I was someone different now, someone scarred, someone wary, someone who'd lost everything and found a way to keep living anyway. Was I happy? No. Probably never would be again. Not like before. But I was okay, and okay, I'd learned, was enough. I turned away from the building, walked back to my car, drove home to my small studio with its single window and rented furniture, made dinner, watched the news, went to bed. Tomorrow I'd teach again, help students, work on a consulting project, video call Iris, maybe meet Gary for coffee. Small things, normal things, life things. I'd lost 425,000 pounds, my home, my dignity, my trust in love. But I hadn't lost everything. I still had myself, damaged, changed, but still here. And maybe that was the lesson. Not that love is a lie, not that trust is foolish, but that surviving heartbreak is its own kind of victory. I closed my eyes, thought about Margaret, about the garden in Leeds, about Cora's smile, about everything I'd lost and everything I'd learned, and then I let it go, all of it, because I was tired of carrying it, tired of being defined by it. I was Arthur Hayes, 76 years old, living in Manila, alone but not lonely, broke but not broken. And tomorrow, I'd wake up and keep going, because that's what survivors do. They keep going.